This is a moment I've been waiting for 2 years. Now, obviously, this is just the opening act because this beast is yet to come. And where's my hori hori? So if I put the hori hori next to this just for scale, I mean, it's just incredible. I think it's as big. No, it's bigger than my forearm. It's crazy, isn't it? If you're wondering what this is, it's a loofah. And I tried to grow them last year with no success. I got them to like little weedy plants. I put them out on the plot and they promptly got slugged. So I didn't get any loofahs last year, only I did because Claire at the Farmyard Garden, she did have success growing her loofahs and she sent me one. So I had the joy of peeling it. I got to save the seed. I sowed it and I got 2 plants that are doing quite well. They are on the plot. But this plant that you can see going around the greenhouse, in fact, it's coming right over onto the other side now, is a plant that Claire gave me, one that she sowed this year, and that's the one that of course is doing best. I've got another fruit here that looks like it will get to maturity. Not sure about this tiny one up here. And you may have seen Claire peel one of her loofahs on the first episode of So Chatty, which is our new discussion show, and if you haven't caught it yet, all the episodes are now on that dedicated channel, So Chatty, so we would love for you to subscribe and check it out. But you don't have to go there just yet to see a loofah being peeled because I'm going to do it right now. Now this particular fruit, ooh, never got that big. It's definitely ready though. Oh my goodness, look at this. Oh, and I can see seed in there as well, viable seed, because they've turned black, they're not white. Oh my God, it does. It looks just like a loofah. It's just incredible. It's so delicate. You just can't believe that that is a vegetable, right? But what we should do is, when we get to the end of the season, take the immature fruits and have a look at what they look like inside when they're like fleshy vegetable, because you can eat them. You can eat them young. I think they're supposed to be a bit like courgettes or something. But yeah, how absolutely fabulous is this? Now imagine what this one is going to look like. Now, before I go inside and clean this up, Claire said on So Chatty that you just wash it in soapy water and let it dry and obviously knock out all the seeds. Before I do that, there's one more job that I wanted to do in here. Now, you may remember in my seed sowing series earlier this year, I talked about growing Samphire. This is not the plant. I tried twice and both times the seed didn't germinate, which was really disappointing. I'm not cheap seed. However, I bought some Samphire from the supermarket and I took some of the pieces because they're all cut up and I rooted them and I now have a Samphire plant. So if you also want Samphire, and Samphire is like an edible succulent and it's got a kind of salty, crunchy flavour texture, and you can put it on salads or in stir fries and things like that. I really like it. But I would recommend not bothering to try and grow it from seed and instead get yourself a little pack from the supermarket and root it and grow your own. Now, the reason that I've got this out is because it needs water and it needs a haircut. You know, it's getting quite long, so it's ready to be eaten. But I don't want to eat it until I've watered it because then it's a succulent, so you water it and it will get juicier. Now, the thing with Samphire is you can't just water it. You have to water it with salt water because it is a saltwater vegetable, a sea vegetable. So I've done a mix here. It's really just a big pinch of salt and water. I haven't measured it. I'm just going to pour that over. It's quite dry. So I'm going to put the whole thing in and it can come out of the bottom and then it can sit in it for a while and then I'll let it drain. I've been growing this indoors, but only really because my other propagations are indoors. It would be perfectly happy in the greenhouse. It will need protecting over winter though. So at this point, I probably will just leave it in its spot in the house. But yeah, I'm going to have a taste of that later. One of the other unusual things that I was attempting to grow this year was lemongrass. And I'm super pleased to say that the seed did germinate for that one. And I now have this beautiful little lemongrass plant. I've given one to Mom as well. I don't think it's ready yet because the stalks are still quite thin, but this will also need winter protection. So I'll be bringing this into the house over winter, but it's been perfectly happy in here over the summer. It's so pretty. I'm really pleased with that. Right, I'm going to go wash my loofah and then I shall meet you at the plot. Most times when I come to the plot, I just kind of see what needs doing and get stuck in. But today I come with a very specific job to do. This is the current state of my polytunnel. I mean, talk about jungle. Now, I had been keeping on top of my side shooting and letting light in fairly well up until a few weeks ago, and then I sort of just let it go wild. And don't get me wrong, I kind of really like it like this, and the basil looks fabulous. The sweet potatoes are going mad. I've got the loofah going up there. So there's lots that I like about this, but I'm also well aware that we're coming towards the end of the season and there's lots of green tomatoes in here that still need ripening. And the only way to do that is to get air and light to them. So I need to do a big prune. Now, in readiness for what is going to be a pretty drastic haircut for these plants, I have been watering them. So I came down the last couple of nights, I gave them all a good water. And the reason that I have done that is because these are all, you know, packed together and I'm going to be in here disturbing the plants. And what I don't want to do is snap something that doesn't want to be snapped. And by watering them, it means the stems are turgid. And so they're much less likely to break and bend when I'm messing about in here. It also means the ones that I do want to snip off should snip off nice and cleanly rather than being weak and bendy. So that was why I did that. Okay, well, Dory's settled. I think I'm going to get a bucket and I'm just going to go for it. I am super pleased with how healthy all of the plants are. Right. Now, if they have a tomato on that is not shiny, so it's green, but it's like a matte green, it's coming off. So I think there. Obviously, any flowers now are not going to produce fruit, so I'll get rid of those. What's on this one? These heritage tomatoes, the thing about them is that if you do let them go wild, they will grow tomatoes. It's not just from side shoots. It's like starts a leaf and then there's some tomatoes and then the leaf carries on and, well, not exactly, but they are pretty wild. Look at that one. An absolutely enormous side shoot coming right from the bottom of the plant. It's not been that long since I side shooted these, but yeah, I guess it's that thing, end of the season. It's trying its best, throwing out everything it can. Oh, wow. Cream crackered, Dory. Cream crackered. That was a big job. I mean, it is when you leave it and it becomes a big job. But I have to admit, when I was about halfway through, I was pretty ready. Oh, hang on, Dory. There you go. Come on. Oh. I have to admit, I was ready to give up. I was ready to go home and get lunch. But instead, I powered through, listening to the audiobook, and it's done. It's done. And it looks, well, it looks very bare. But now that all that foliage is gone, not only is there more light and air that can get to the fruits and help ripen them, but also the plants themselves are putting the energy into that ripening rather than growing the side shoots and putting more flowers out. So yes, it was a job well done. There were some casualties. So I've got a couple of bags here of green tomatoes, so they shall go home and go into a paper bag with a banana and hopefully ripen. But yeah, I'm exhausted. So now I did bring something else down with me, which is my tape dispenser and pen. The reason being, I keep taking tomatoes home, but of course by the time I get them home, I'm not sure which varieties they are because it's very hard to keep track of 71 tomato varieties. So I thought I would put some tape on each of them so I know the varieties, not only for taste testing purposes, but also for saving seed. I've saved a couple of seeds so far, the Artisan Blush Tiger, which was beautiful tomato, and also, the one that Claire gave me that was supposed to be, I think it was supposed to be, let's go check. So the initial confusion with these two plants was the labels were the wrong way around, but this is definitely San Marzano. So this one should be Galapagos cerise, but cerise would suggest it should be red, which this is definitely not. It looks a lot like Barry's Crazy Cherry, but Barry's Crazy Cherry tends to have a light fruit, and this is quite a dark yellow. So yeah, it's a bit of a mystery, this one, but it's quite tasty, and I think I prefer the fruits to the Barry's Crazy Cherry. I have got a Barry's Crazy Cherry in the plot greenhouse, so we can compare it when that one starts fruiting, but they're very prolific and they taste good, so I thought I'll save some seed for that one and maybe we can figure it out at some point. Now these two beasts here, we've got pink brandywine. I've also got true black brandywine over there, which is almost done. And this one is pork chop, which I haven't had any of yet. And they look fantastic. They're huge. So I'm really looking forward to those. I did grow those last year and they were high on the taste test. So it'll be interesting to see how they compare with, you know, the 70 other tomatoes that I'm growing this year. However, I am not going to harvest any just yet because I'm tired. And I think after a couple of days, there'll be a lot more ripening going on in there and we can perhaps get a good haul. So instead, I'm going to go home and I'm going to get some lunch and I'm probably going to have a nap. Welcome back to the greenhouse, and it's actually been a full week since we were last filming in here. I've kind of taken a breather this week and not much has kind of changed. It's still throwing out a load of loofahs that probably won't make it to maturity. What I did do was edit the footage that I'd already filmed and realised I used the word haircut a couple of times, which then prompted me to think I probably need a haircut. So I have also had a prune, well overdue. And what we should do is check on the tomatoes that were pruned because I'm hoping that we've had quite a lot of ripening going on during this week gap. The other thing I noticed about the footage that I had filmed before was I seemed to be updating you on a lot of the unusual vegetables that I'd sown earlier in the season. And I thought, well, that's quite a nice thing to continue as a theme. And also what worked and what didn't work. And one of the things that has worked so far was this, the beef and onion tree. The beef and onion tree was She Grows Veg seed, and I planted a whole pot with seed and only one came up, but this one seems to be doing pretty well. And I'm hopeful if I keep it warm and hydrated over winter, we'll have a nice little strong plant for next year, and we perhaps can start tasting these leaves, which are meant to taste like beef and onion crisps. Now, alas, what I can't show you is the bird of paradise plant. So you may remember that my friend gave me some bird of paradise seed and I saw the plant when I was in Turkey. I was very excited about trying to grow one of these of my own, but no germination, not a single seed. And I've planted them all, not a single seed germinated. So I'm afraid no bird of paradise this year. Now, if I'm being entirely honest, I'm not that disappointed that I don't have a diva of a plant to look after over winter, have enough of those already. And it is, I mean, I've spoken about this before, but I am moving towards trying to simplify things a lot more. And that's what brings me down the end of the garden here to the dahlia bed. It only seems right to bring you down to the dahlia beds because we spend so much time trying to get these planted up and ready for the season. And I am so pleased that they are actually flowering now. Not all of them, but the ones that are just looking absolutely stunning. And I think we will get more before the season's end. But that's what I wanted to talk about because the season's end would usually for me mean lifting all of these dahlias, and I think I calculated that I have over 40 dahlias now, and that's a lot to lift and store, find space for, and to look after over winter, and then to do the whole replanting thing with all my sandwich bags and everything next year. So I want to simplify that. which for dahlias really means leaving them in the beds. Now, I have tried this once before. So last year I left some of my tubers, actually most of the ones that are in this back bed now, in what I had as a dahlia and herb bed last year, but none of them came back up. Now, I think I over mulched, as in I put wood chip on top and then they couldn't push through the wood chip when it came time to shoot. So I ended up digging them all up and then replanting them in this bed, and they have done fine in here. So I would like your advice really for those of you who do mulch your dahlias over winter and have success doing that. What should I be mulching with? I kind of thought I would do compost, maybe cardboard, and then take the cardboard off in the spring to let them shoot. But yeah, I would be interested in your success stories in terms of overwintering your dahlias. Now, the last thing to show you before we head to the plot are the seeds that I've sown that are intended for the polytunnel over winter. So this tray has done really well. This has got the Broccoletto Winter Wild in, I think that's a Yorkshire seed, and Offenheim spring cabbage, which I only have 2 of in there. But this tray, really disappointing, no snowball cauliflower and no Calabrese green sprouting. Sown at the same time, exact same conditions. They both did get a little bit too wet because they were outside and we had a big rain, but still vast difference there. But at least we'll have some Broccoletto to put in the polytunnel. Actually, another thing that I could put in the polytunnel over winter is the sea kales. So these are the cuttings that I did and that have rooted. And yeah, oh, hello, hello. We seem to have a little interloper in the kale. I'm going to have to relocate you, I'm afraid, my friend. And check this one too. A little bit of white fly. I can't see any others, just that little one. But yeah, maybe they will quite like being in the polytunnel over winter, get them established a little bit more. But the polytunnel isn't ready for winter greens just yet. It's still full of tomatoes, and I'm hoping that some of them are ripening now. So let's go head down to the allotment and have a look. Before we head into the polytunnel to look at the tomatoes, I thought we might just check in on some of the other unusual crops that I have on the allotment. And one of them is here, and it's the Garleeks. So these are grown from the garlic seed that Robin sent me last year. So I've already grown garlic once. I did them in the home garden last year, but I planted them late. They were pretty weedy plants when I harvested them, they were. And they didn't really taste much of garlic. So it didn't seem like it was necessary to have a whole additional crop to normal leeks. However, I had some seed left, I planted it. I now have much better garlic plants than I had last year. And I'm wondering if they might taste a little bit more garlicky. So we're going to harvest those. Is that okay, Dory? Come on then. Don't stand in that fox poo. Okay, here we go. Now it does recommend these to be about 1 inch thick, which I think that probably is. Is there any sign though of allium leaf miner? There's a little, yeah, just a hint of rust maybe, but no, it looks pretty good. Pretty good. Right, there's one. Oh, it's a bit more stuck. There's 2. Yeah, not bad, not bad. So then there's beetroot. So it's just these 2. Now, they are a lot smaller. I think I'm going to leave those in for a little bit longer. Leeks are fine over winter, so I'm assuming garlic is the same. And I could even let those 2 go to seed and then collect some seed so I can continue to growing it, because this is not seed that you can currently get in the UK. Come on, Dory. Dory did not want to stay in the greenhouse on her own today, so she's following me about. Now, the other thing that I wanted to show you is down in this mass of stuff. It's not the Cape gooseberries. However, I have been talking about the Cape gooseberry. So good. On So Chatty recently. The reason being that I have this Cape gooseberry plant, which is the same plant that I grew last year, which is lovely and tall, nice big fruits, really, really sweet, very, very yellow, which is in contrast to the ground cherries that I have down here, which you can see are a much smaller plant, growing close to the ground. They have smaller fruits, not quite so yellow, and not quite so sweet, but still very tasty and really prolific. So while I had thought that ground cherry and Cape gooseberries were interchangeable, they are in fact not. They're completely different varieties of phasalis. And if you want to find out more about that, head to episode 2 of So Chatty. But the thing I was here for is in here. Between the Cape gooseberries and everything else that is growing in here, we have got these beasts. These are the Mangelwurzels. And I'll put my hand there just for scale. So you can see they're getting really big. They're supposed to get a lot bigger than this as well, but I have multi-sown. Now lastly, if I can get by, what you doing? What you doing in there? Daft dog, daft dog. And the last thing I want to show you is over here. Now I've been deliberately keeping this one back because it's pretty special. Have a look under here. This is very good for scale. Again, above Dory, this is the size of Dory's head, is my birdhouse gourd. I mean, look at the size of that. That's it with my hand. It's just absolutely enormous. It's hard to focus with all the foliage around it too. But what a beast. What a beast, Dory. I mean, the whole plant is a beast. It's just completely taken over the swing. There are beans in here as well, but look, you can see the birdhouse gourds go all the way along and over and out the other end. There are actually 2 on here. So the big one, obviously Claire's plant. This one on this side was my plant, but it's hard to tell now which one is producing what. But yeah, I'm not sure if I'll grow them again next year. I'll see how they dry. But yeah, it's been really fun to do that this year. But the main event is the tomatoes. So this is my little setup. I've got my tape. Oh, hang on. No, it's not. One sec. Now this is my little setup. I've got my tape, I've got pen, snips, and lots of bags because I want to harvest these, but I also want to label them ready for taste testing. So I would say that there's been a lot more ripening that's gone on in the week between when we did the massive prune and now. So that's really heartening. It's also good to get the ripe fruit off, even fruit that is just colouring, because then the plant can put the energy into ripening the green fruits, because as we know, time is running out. Right, can't do it with you on my lap though, Dory. Oh. Now, if I start at the very beginning and the oldest tomatoes, see, these are the tomatoes that went in first, which were all the ones from Claire and Ali that they gave to me as little plants. I thought this was my last lucid gem, but I didn't realise it was going all the way up there. So we've got plenty more fruits ripening. That's soft to the touch, so that's all good. What about that one? Yeah, I'm going to take a few of these off because they're definitely colouring up. Now, I really like the lucid gem. And Robin, at Robin Gardens, this was one of her top ones, along with Dr. Weitsch's yellow, which we do have some of as well. But we're not quite there yet. This, I think, oh no, I was going to say again, this might be the last true black brandy wine, but there are some up there. Yeah, that's soft, that's ready to go. Oh, I need a different bag for these though, don't I? And I need to label that one. I'm already getting ahead of myself. They are lucid gem. I've already saved some seed of the lucid gem. So, go in there. And then those 2 are true black brandy wine. Now, if you're thinking, this is a lot of trouble to go to, Kerry, the reason is that I do not want to grow 71 tomato varieties next year. I've been talking about simplifying things, and this is one area I definitely need to simplify. So I need to know which are the nicest that I would grow again. And then hopefully get my list down to, I don't know, 10 or 15? What were these? Artisan Blush Tiger. Oh, I've also saved seed for these as well already. Get down to 10 or 15, which are really, really good tomatoes. and then grow a couple of plants of each of those, and perhaps only do half the polytunnel with tomatoes so that I've got room for other different crops. What I particularly want to taste test is all the different varieties that I've got that should be akin to Sungold. So Sungold is an F1, you can't save the seeds. So I wanted to do ones that were supposed to be like Sungold in order to see if they could be better. So this, I think, is the Sungold. So there's plenty of those that are ready. In fact, I might just have one. Here we go. It's just so good. It's just so good. Everyone raves about it because it's so sweet. It's so lovely. Right, plenty of those to taste test. Now, they're going to be up against, well, they're going to be up against a whole load of tomatoes. I think I've got 8 or 9 tomatoes that are potential replacements, including this one, which is called Sungold Select. And that is a perfectly ripe one, but I'll take those other 2 as well. Now, they're a lot bigger than Sungold, so we'll see if they can be as sweet. I've just noticed we've got a plant down. Plant down. Did I do that? Moving the camera about. Oh, it might be because it's very, very heavy. Oh, I pulled a green one off. Okay, what's the best thing to do about this now? Not sure, because I don't think that is going to be able to hold that up now. You may be a trailing tomato from here on in. Let's trail you so that your fruits are there. Maybe that's the best way to do it. Oh dear. Oh dear. What one was it? Oh, there's that lava. Crisis over. I got it back up. Okay. Clearly moving the camera around is not helping this situation, and there's loads to harvest. So let's hyperlapse it and I'll see you on the other side. Well, I think that's every ripe or nearly ripe tomato harvested. I hadn't quite thought through how much I would have to carry home. So yeah, it might end up being 2 trips. But the largest that I think I've harvested so far, but I don't think this is going to be the largest of the whole batch. This is what I call Josie's beefsteak, because it's a beefsteak tomato that my sister grew, gosh, 3 years ago, maybe now, 4 years ago. And I saved the seed from it, but we never knew what the actual variety was. So it's just become Josie's beefsteak. And I know Liam's dad grew it last year and said he thought it was really great and made huge tomatoes, which it has. So that's why I chose to grow it again this year. But yeah, what a haul. Now, much as I would like to taste test 71 tomatoes, with, oh no, we've not quite got 71 here, but even so, that would be a major feat and a long video, and I wouldn't put you through that. My family also don't want to be put through it. So last year we did a big taste test as a family. We made a whole evening out of it. And I think we taste tested 16 varieties and they were flagging by the end of it. So there's no way I can rope them into doing all this. But what I did think I would do is perhaps section them out so that I do the cherries together, the Sungoldy type ones together, the beefsteaks together, and things like that. The cooking ones, perhaps, yeah, put those in a pan for a couple of minutes and taste test those, because I've got San Marzano and I've got Costulato Florentino, which I think is meant to be a good cooker one, and Midnight Roma as well, which I managed to get 2 of. Midnight Roma was one that I grew a lot of plants of last year, and I grew them outside and the blight got them before I even got to try one. So I'm very excited to be able to try Midnight Roma this year. Before I get this lot home, I am going to go into the polytunnel and do a good water, because I had watered before I did the big prune, but then I hadn't watered since. And the reason I did that is because apparently if you water before you harvest, you're diluting the flavors. And obviously I want the flavors to be as concentrated as possible in all of these tomatoes. But now they're harvested, I'll go and do a good water, and then we'll wait for the next haul. Now, it only seems fair that we taste test some of these tomatoes now that we picked them all. So I thought we'd do the Sungold ones, since those are the ones that I was talking about earlier. And this is the real deal. This is Sungold. So let's get a couple ready. And I think the first one we'll taste test it against is Honeymoon, because this is also an F1. So the reason that I'm trying to find a replacement for Sungold is because you can't save the Sungold seed and it come true. And in fact, I've got one in here that's called Not Sungold, which is a saved Sungold seed, so we can see how that compares. But Honeymoon was very nice last year, and I just want to see how that one compares. Right, here we go then. Sungold. Delicious. Honeymoon. Mmm. I really wish I had a more nuanced palette. I'm going to have to go again. Right, Sungold. It's close. And the Honeymoon does have a honey flavour to it, which is very pleasant. But the Sungold, all right. Well, I'm going to say much of a muchness with the Sungold and the honeycomb for now. Right, got a couple more Sungold there. So let's try Santium Sunrise, because I think this is the one that looks most like a Sungold of all the other ones. And it comes on a good recommendation from Nick at Nick the Grief. So, right, Santium Sunrise. Very close. Very close. Yeah, I'm not sure you would know the difference between those. Right, so, I mean, honeycomb I'm going to put over there because it is an F1 anyway. So we're against Sungold and Santium. Santium doing well. This one does not look like a Sungold. This one is called Gobstopper. It's also one from Nick, and it's very yellow. It is also split, but that's okay. Right, we need another Sungold for comparison. Right, Gobstopper. Nice tomato, but that's not like Sungold. Not nearly as sweet, but nice. So that's Gobstopper out of the running. The other one I don't think will be a contender is Jen's Tangerine, which is one from Real Seeds. I've grown this from the first year, I think, that I was growing tomatoes from seed. So again, quite a bit bigger than the Sungold. So Jen's Tangerine. Not a contender. I don't even have to try the other half of the Sungold to know that, although a perfectly fine tomato, it's not got the sweetness of Sungold. Now this one is Golden Sunrise, which is quite a popular tomato. You find this in shops. I got this one, I didn't grow this one from seed, I got it from the lady around the corner as a very small plant. No, not a contender, that one. Now this is the one that is not Sungold. I only harvested these this morning, or a few days after I was last filming, and I went down to the allotment this morning and looked in the greenhouse rather than the polytunnel. So these are the greenhouse grown. They're not Sungold because these are what Ali sent me last year, which was supposed to be Sungold, but she had sent the sage seed instead of the original seed. So not Sungold, which is what I called them. It's looking very Sungoldy though this time, because this is, as I say, I grew it last year. It wasn't Sungold. Then I saved the seed from that, and then I've grown it again. So this is 2 generations away from Sungold now. Okay, let's try it. Mmm. Mmm. That's really lovely. It's sweet, but it's very mellow. Right, I am going to compare that to the Sungold. Oh my god, I think I prefer it. I think the not Sungold has got it. Have I created a new strain of Sungold? Or if I save this seed and plant it next year, will I have a completely different tomato again? Because this is not what the not Sungold was last year, I'm sure. It's lovely. Lovely. Right, let's keep those there then. And add in our very final one, which is... Uh-oh, where's the label? Oh, there it is. This is the Sungold Select. Now, Maria sent me this seed, and I say seed because it was a single seed. That's all she had left, and she posted it to me, and thank goodness it germinated, and I got it to a full-grown plant that's produced some fruit. It is a lot larger, as I said earlier, I think, than a Sungold, but be interesting to see if size matters. It's okay, but it's not Sungold. It's not Sungold. It's not Santium Sunrise, and it's not Sungold. So Sungold Select is out of the running, and we are left with not Sungold and Santium Sunrise. Okay, well, I've eaten all of those, and in a very surprise twist to this tomato taste test, I mean, the reason that we were doing this taste test is to find something to replace Sungold, because it's an F1 and you can't save the seed. But the thing I found to replace it is the saved seed of the Sungold. It is what it is. Right, I think I need to get something for lunch that isn't just tomatoes. But thank you for joining me this week. If you haven't already, please subscribe to So Chatty. We would love to have you over there. Otherwise, I shall see you next week. Take care.